Okay, I wanted to take this opportunity to break down something that I thought was pretty cool, and a kind of a buzzword we use in track and field. And I wanted to use this video of Su Bingtian, Chinese sprinter. He is going to do a standing broad jump, and I want us to take a look at it so that we can explore the topic of triple extension. Okay, I think it's an important topic. I think it is a skill that we need to have as sprinters or as athletes in general. But more importantly, I think we need to know how the sequencing of it all works to our benefit. So let's take a look at this and see what he does to get the standing broad jump. Okay, pretty cool. Now, going through back, it ends up being about 10 feet, 10 inches, which is a really solid jump for a guy his size. And but the main thing is I want you to see how he sets it up. So one of the things that robs people of their full explosiveness is overuse of the upper body. So triple extension is extension, meaning, as you can see, he's up on his toes, extension of the hip, knee, and then ankle. One of the big things that people struggle with is when all of that stuff should happen. So you see he's loading everything. He's really loading his hips through his feet. And then as he comes out, what a lot of people will do is throw their hands at the expense of their hips. But one thing he's really good about, and this is kind of a discipline in training and in sequencing, he does not let his arms overtake what's going on in the hips. So he knows that his hips have to explode through his feet, and the arms are to add a little bit of extra force at the end. Now, if that happens too early, what actually happens is you go into what's called lumbar extension, not hip extension. Lumbar meaning the low back. So you may see people that really throw their hands up and they end up having a little bit of arch in their back, but that is basically robbing Peter to pay Paul, because the more lumbar extension you have, the less hip extension you will have. The other thing I want you to notice is, look, as he progresses through the jump, he is still active through his feet, but notice how the hips are always moving forward. The knees never snap back until the very end, and that's what gives him that complete like sell-out launch. Even at this point, just to go back to the arms thing, you notice that the arms are never behind his head. You see his spine almost, his erectors, spinal erectors. There's no arch in the low back. So when you think about triple extension, we really want to think about the bottom of the glutes being the extension point. And then the other thing is, obviously, we don't want the knees to snap back. So that's more about engaging the feet throughout the movement. In essence, if the world was a leg press, you wouldn't snap your knees back on a leg press. You would push your feet out. And so you notice he's finishing with his feet, almost finishing through his big toe, which is really, really awesome. I'm really glad he's doing it barefoot because we can really see it. And what that does is you notice that he has freedom in the legs. You see how the legs kind of, they bend, which means they're not locked. So that means he's not snapping his knee. So he can actually be in his hips, and the legs are free because the legs are movers. They don't need to be locked. And see, that allows him to get his feet underneath him and prepare himself for landing. And if you see how he lands, he sticks to landing because he is already prepared. He was never overextended, so everything was good. So that's something that long jumpers, I think, can take into account. Football players preparing for the combine, I think that's an awesome example of somebody who has all the basic understanding of sequencing, and it makes sense because that's a guy that can run 9.9 consistently. And so great athlete, great jump, and hope you can benefit from this in some way. All right, thanks a lot.